of something Muhammad Ali did, and I don't think he did it many times. What did he do?
He interviewed.
No. What did he do? The guy who the person who gets that will pass their course. How's that?
Here, tell me.
What did he do? Do you know?
Yeah, he lost his first fight.
He lost his first fight.
Smoking Joe Frazier! Smoking Joe Frazier!
That's the man.
For the first time, Ali just come back from being exiled and fought a couple of fights and then he had to fight Smoking Joe. Smoking Joe's a bad dude. He was too bad to be had.
What? Here's a technical question. See if this guy knows the answer to this one. Joe Frazier knocked out Ali. Was it a right hand or a left hand that knocked him out?
Left. It was a both.
Left and right. It's either the left or the right. You got that right.
It was a left hook, but he didn't knock him out.
A left hook.
He knocked him down in the 14th round. Ali got back up and finished the fight. He didn't knock him out.
Right.
But he hit him with the left. He hit him harder than the tax man.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So, you know a little bit about some trivia. This is very good. How many people here are from the community worker program? Woo! And the rest are what?
Community worker
Community
program.
worker. Now what the heck is that? Somebody want to give us a quick sentence on what the community worker program is?
I just want to graduate.
Go. Who's on?
Ashley.
Ashley. Go ahead. Keep going.
A community worker is a worker who works on a grand scale with larger populations, and we work on a macro scale where we, where we create sustainable change.
Okay, agents of change. That sounds okay. How many people here are from the social service worker program? All right. Is somebody going to tell us what the heck that is?
Go for it, come on.
Come on.
A social service work is someone who works with different population. It can be a senior, it can be a child or youth, it can be especially women. But what we do is to help community to adjust to the new society or to help them in any problem.
Help them in any way. Beautiful. Who is from another program? Any other program besides those two?
Brian.
Yes, you.
I'm representing the Child and Youth Worker Program. I'm the program coordinator. But
could you say a sentence about what that is?
So we support young people that are having, so either youth or children that are suffering behavioral or emotional challenges, and try and walk side by side in a strength-based way with other young people.
So our speaker, thank you very much everybody for coming. Our speaker today is somebody called Spider Jones, and I'm hoping at some point or other he's going to tell us how he got the first name of Spider. I'm sure his mother didn't give him that, but I'm sure that he'll probably explain that to us. Spider has a book. Spider is an author. Out of Darkness, and I'm sure after the talk you're giving them away. No.
Nothing's for free. That's the first thing you should learn when you come back to school. There's no free lunches.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Spider grew up in Detroit, in Windsor area, and he told me a little bit earlier that he left school in grade 5. But then, he smartened up. He went back to school. He'll tell you all about that as well. Seneca College, which, you know, is kind of a iffy place at best, right? Compared to Sheridan. And then to Ryerson. So there you go. There is life after grade 5. Spider's involved in a young people's group that's called Believe to Achieve. And maybe at some point you can talk a little bit about that one as well, because that's a very important project. So Spider's nickname, as it were, is the Lovable One. So, without further ado, the Lovable One.
Good to be here. When I look at people around this room, it sort of brings me back to the day that I returned to school, which was in 1979. Share that with you a little later on because it changed my life, and I say that sincerely. It changed my life. And I can tell you now, I am living a life that I enjoy so much over the past 25 years. I've had a chance to work in radio, in TV. I've had a chance to meet people, celebrities, personalities, world leaders, and people that perhaps you have read about, you have saw their movies, you have heard them on the radio or bought their CDs. I'm living a life that I dreamed about for many years. But let me tell you first of all, the name Spider is not my real name, you're right. No mother would name her child Spider. But everywhere I go, people ask me that. They say, hey, Spider, did you ever have a nickname when you boxed? Because I boxed for many years. I was a North American and four-time light heavyweight golden glove champion. So I worked with a lot of people. And in my book, there's a lot of pictures of Muhammad Ali, who I met in 1966, a month after I was released from jail. I was in jail for 7.5 years. Not all at the same time. So I'm an ex-con who got his life together. I didn't murder anybody, so no fear. I didn't shoot anybody or anything violent like that. I just got involved in hot goods and robberies. So I was sort of like Robin Hood. I robbed the rich and gave it to the poor. I was the poor. I came to Toronto in 1963. I was training in Detroit at the time at a gym called the Motor City Gym, which is in Detroit. Anybody ever been to Detroit here? And you got back alive, that's cool. Back then, Detroit was called Motor City, USA. It had the highest average homicide rate in America. They averaged 700 murders a year. A year. The year I moved out, they had 782 murders in the riots that burned down 4 square blocks. And you can check that out on the internet. Detroit riots, 1967. July, they called it, Gordon Lightfoot sang the song. It was called Black Day in July. 4 square blocks burned to the ground. So I see what's going on in Libya and what's going on in Egypt, and I can relate to it because there were many things happening in the United States of America, and that's why the riots happened, because of police brutality, because of racism, because of exclusion, because of lack of opportunities that the great nation of America was denied. So there wasn't a lot of hope in the projects and in the ghettos and where we grew up. So I came to Detroit in 1963 along with a guy named George Chavello, who was born and raised in Toronto, but came to Detroit to box. And the first time I met him was in a gym in Detroit called the Motor City Gym. And what sticks out is because he stuck out like a fly in a pan of milk. I mean, this guy he was the only white guy in the gym. And it was in the black bottom, they called it. That was the real tough part of Detroit. But we hit it right off, so when he came back to Toronto, I came back and fought and met Maple Leaf Gardens. Remember Maple Leaf Gardens? Yeah. Used to be a hockey team there called the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, Maple Leafs, I'm sorry. And I won the Golden Gloves, the National Golden Gloves there, on a Pro-Am card. So I'm in the dressing room after, and I'm taking off my boxing shoes. Their boxing shoes were up to here. So I'm taking them off, and this guy comes bursting into the door. Elderly guy, got 60 years old. No, so he's elderly, like me. I'm old, but I ain't cold, though. He comes running in, he's, hey kid. He's got this seersucker suit on. Like the handcuffs are up to here. And he's got a hat, he's got a cigar in his mouth. He says, I like the way you fight, kid. I got a name for you. Nickname. You always have these nicknames in boxing. And in the UFC and in wrestling, I always got nicknames. You know, The Rock. I never could do it. I love that guy. La 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 la. Oh, man. He's the greatest trash talker outside of Valley. So I'm going to call you Spider. I didn't like Spider. Call me Spider. I like spiders. Spiders crawl on the man. He says, no, you fight like a spider. I said, what do you mean? He said, you got lightning hands. You got these hands. It's like you're fighting with 6 pairs of hands. Because I used to